What is up, everybody? Today, we're going to be talking a lot about Madden 18, how the game is feeling, what's new this year in Madden 18. I know there isn't much gameplay out there right now, there's virtually no gameplay out there right now, but, you know, I got to go down to EA Play last week, came back last night, got my hands on the game, got to feel it out, got to see how the new modes are working, so I'm here to break down to you guys pretty much all that I got to see, all that I got to feel, and, you know, give you guys some breakdowns on the new modes as well. Everything Madden 18 that I could possibly provide to you guys, I will do that. So we are going to start off with maybe my favorite. There's some pretty good features in this game. Maybe my favorite feature, just because of how annoying nickel blitzes are in Madden 17, the ID to Mike feature in Madden 18. So that is a feature where you basically ID a unoccupied blitzer that the offensive line would not account for otherwise. AKA, if someone's sending a nickel cornerback or DB blitz off the edge, the offensive line would not account for that in Madden 17. If you ID that blitzer off the edge in Madden 18, they will get picked up. I went in the replay mode, I broke it down myself, I saw, you know, instead of what happened in Madden 17 and in previous Maddens is that the left guard and the center would double team one guy and someone would come free, even if they're only sending 4 guys or something like that. Now, this year, the left guard will potentially slide over and pick up the nickel blitzer while the left tackle is occupied with an edge rusher, or, you know, same thing on the right side, if you know what I'm talking about. So, you know, it's a really good feature. Thankfully, they put it, that was a must-need feature in Madden 18, or else, you know, that kind of blitz was going to be broken again. I don't know if there's going to be any kind of blitzes in Madden 18. There probably will be something, but it won't be that, thankfully. It won't be that. They've addressed that issue, and, you know, we're through with that. Next thing I want to talk about is wide receiver animations, and on top of that, wide receiver versus defensive back animations. So we're going to start with the wide receiver animations really quick because I was personally, you know, I like Madden 17. I like the way the gameplay was. I just wasn't a fan of MUT or anything like that and how bland it was. But one of the big problems with Madden 17 was the wide receiving catching. Basically the whole mechanic of it, because they would rack catch when you try to possession catch. You try to possession catch on the sideline, they rack it out of bounds. A bunch of nonsense, man. And, you know, they wouldn't, you know, possession catches wouldn't happen in traffic. There's a bunch of things wrong with it, but I've seen improvements in it in Madden 18. I've seen, you know, on the sidelines, they won't, you know, get the happy feet and just scatter out of bounds when you're trying to stay in bounds and stuff like that. I never saw that animation happen once when I was playing. There were a lot of good possession catches in traffic when, you know, you throw like a post route in the middle and you don't want your guy to rack catch it. I saw the possession catch. There weren't any dropped open passes where the guy tried to rack catch it for absolutely no reason when he was wide open. The only thing I will say is that there might have, the catching might be a little bit too overpowered to where they were catching a little bit too many passes in traffic and stuff like that, where maybe if a defensive back should be able to get a hit on that receiver and they weren't getting a hit, that's something that, you know, maybe they could tune it down a little bit. I think the catching is a little bit overpowered. The defensive backs aren't getting the big hits that they should be because the possession catch animation is triggering too quickly or something like that and forcing a catch. But that's what I noticed from the wide receiver catching. So they definitely changed it up from last year. That was a big problem last year. Two of the biggest problems last year, the two biggest problems to me last year, they addressed it. And it's good that they addressed it, man. Definitely something that you want. Now, to wide receiver versus defensive back animations, what I'm talking about there is that, if you guys know, in Madden 17 and especially Madden 16, the defensive backs really were in a bad position compared to the wide receiver. The wide receiver was in a position of advantage of catching a football. The defensive backs almost had no chance of catching. In Madden 16, you just got aggressive caught on all game. In Madden 17, you had to swat the ball to make sure you didn't get aggressive caught on. The swat feature worked pretty well. I would say personally for myself, I thought the swat feature was very good addition and worked almost every single time, as long as you didn't have like low overalls versus high overalls. But you weren't able to pick off balls that you should be able to pick off because you would be scared to try to play the ball rather than swat the ball because, you know, you're basically at mercy of what animations would happen. This year, thankfully, defensive backs, they're reacting to the ball and they're not getting stuck in certain animations basically. And it's like a throwback to previous Maddens, like, you know, Madden 12 or something like that, where you could strafe with the defensive back a little bit and pick that ball off. it's a little bit more like that this year, where you have more control of, as the defensive player, when you were in position to get the ball, that you can go and get it. Now, I'm not 100% sure how it's going to work out. There's probably some sort of risk of going for the ball as well, as it usually would be, as opposed to swatting the ball, because if you try to go for it, you might not get it and the wide receiver might catch it. But I've definitely seen defensive backs play ball better, and specifically on high point passes. You guys know Madden 17 was hashtag high point 17, especially in the red zone. You just high point that ball, you throw it up there, because there's a very low chance it got intercepted, because the defensive backs would play it very stupidly. They would not really react to the balls, especially in the red zone. And at worst case scenario, it would be a SWAT animation and non-interception animation. You basically wouldn't get the interception animation that often. This year, the high point passes, you can definitely still do it. It's a good mechanic when you use it right, but it's not a mechanic that you can abuse as far as I saw. And that's a very big disclaimer on this. As far as I saw, this is not final Madden 18 information or anything like that, okay? Because the game is a work in progress. I only got to play it a little bit. I didn't get to play it a lot. So this is not, confirmed information that it's going to happen. There could still be something wrong with Madden 18 that I don't know about. I'm telling you guys my personal experiences with the game. And I'm also not here to overhype the game. I don't like the term hypebeast too much. I don't really think that's much of a vocabulary word, but going to EA Play will turn a lot of, YouTubers and, whoever else that attends there into a hype beast, to where they play the game and they're like, oh my god, this game's great, man. It's cool, man. It's so much fun to be down here. And then when you actually get your hands on the game, you have a totally different experience. And that's not what I'm here to do. I'm not here to hype beast the game to you guys. I'm here to tell you guys what I felt. There's only a little bit that I felt. So there's a lot of things that I can't tell you about the game, about how it worked. I'm just telling you guys, the low sample size that I have. So, getting back into the game, one of the things they switched up is middle linebacker usering. I know this was a point of Rex Dixon, the creative director for Madden. This was a personal thing that he wanted to fix, and it's something that I didn't personally experience, but I've had opponents that I played against experience it. Middle linebacker usering, to where you can cover like 3 routes at once. This year, not so much of a thing. The agility is kind of toned down. You can't unrealistically cover the entire field. I was playing against someone, and they were telling me like, oh, I was going to play that corner route, but I'm so used to Madden 17 where I could go left, middle, and then right and play all those routes. And this year I couldn't do that, so the corner route was open. So there's definitely a tone down based on the people I've talked to. You guys know, if you watch my gameplays, I run sugar, cover, buff 3 every single play. Still running Madden 18 for now, and I use it as safety all the time. The safety really doesn't feel that different to me. I didn't really feel much of a difference. And I wasn't even going to bring this point up, but then I remembered when I was playing against other people that they mentioned that the middle linebacker is different. A lot of people use their linebackers in Madden. So that is a point I figured I would bring up to you guys. And another point I'll bring up to you guys that I didn't necessarily notice myself, but I've heard multiple people say it when they were playing Madden 18, is they said the running backs, I mean, I kind of experienced this myself as well, is that the running backs, you can feel the weight of the running backs more when you run, which I really don't know what that means, to be honest, but that's something I've heard. So, if you know what that means, cool. I put that on my notes. I want to let you guys decipher that one, I don't really know it myself. But one thing I will say about running the football is that I'm not going to say jukes are back. I'm not going to say spin moves are back, because one of the things you have to know about the Madden 18 gameplay that's been out so far, that people were able to play at EA Play and we were able to play, down there as like game changers down there for whatever, is that it wasn't MUT gameplay. So the player overalls aren't as high. There's some big difference in player overalls when you're playing against certain teams. So, you don't know 100% how the game is going to play, because MUT's pretty different from regular head-to-head, if you guys know the difference, if you guys have played both. But the jukes and spin moves, they feel a little bit more fluid. I'm not going to say they're like Madden 16. They're a little bit more like Madden 17 than Madden 16, but they're not as bad as Madden 17. Madden 17, you basically feel like a freaking dump truck, man. You just got to put your head down and hope you truck. Literally, dump truck. Because the jukes are just not really there too much. You don't really get the animations you want. It's not a good thing. It's not a good system. Personally, I don't think so. Maybe you disagree. But they changed it up a little bit. It feels a little bit different. Small sample size. I don't know too much about it, but I figured it's a point I'd bring up. Also, if you want to subscribe to Scomo, youtube.com/Scomo. He told me to make that a talking point in this video on Twitter. So shout out to my dude Scomo. He does Madden videos. He does vlogs. You want to check him out. One thing I will mention is that, speaking of people that told me suggestions, Moonlight Swami, aka Swami, he told me to bring up sideline animations. I wasn't going to bring it up, but I guess I will. It's actually something I don't like about the game. On the sidelines, when you fall down near the opposing player's sideline or opposing team's sideline, an opposing player will pick you up on the sideline. I don't know why they added that in the game. If my opposing player is picking up an opposition on at the sideline when they're on the ground, I want them kicked off the team, man. I don't know why they add that in the game. So I guess I'll bring it up and tell you guys that I do not really like that. I have no idea how long this video is going. I said I was going to make it 10 to 15 minutes. But I probably am about to go over that. I haven't even gone over team play and Longshot yet. But yeah. So the final point I want to make about gameplay is actually 1 and 1A is that the coach settings this year, they have different coach settings. It's kind of like NCAA football, basically exactly like NCAA football, to where you can tell your players how to play the ball, how to go for big hits, how to rush the passer, whether you want aggressive, conservative. If you go aggressive, there's penalties for it. If you go conservative, you don't get the penalties, but you might not get the big time plays because you're playing conservative. But you can tell your players how to play in certain situations, and one of the biggest things that you can do as a coach in the coach settings, which is in the play calling menu, is match up your best defensive back with your best cornerback, which is a feature from previous Maddens. No one knows why they took it out. I think it might have something to, some glitchy stuff would happen when the cornerback would try to follow receivers and it would lead to money plays or something like that, I think. But they added it back this year. You can match cornerbacks with wide receivers based on speed, based on height, based on overall. All those are in the coaching settings. All those really good flexibility. And that's what we want as users. We want more control. We want as much control of the game as possible. I felt like Madden 16 was a low point where you really had no control over that game or what would happen. You were at the mercy of that game. And ever since then, I feel like they're working better at it, and this is a big step forward, giving us control as players of what we want to happen on the field. And one of those big control features, and it is a feature in this game as far as what we want on the field, is the type of gameplay we want. There is the competitive players and there are the sim players. It's like two totally different species of people. No one knows why, but that's just a thing that's in Madden. This year they added competitive mode and simulation mode. Simulation mode, there's more penalties, there's more injuries. I mostly played on competitive. I didn't really play in simulation because I believe all the online modes this year are going to be competitive, and I want to get more practice on that. I wouldn't really play simulation unless it was in a franchise mode. As you guys know, I'm in that Primetime Football League Connected franchise mode. That's probably going to be played on simulation, but you know, I'm mainly going to play online and stuff like that. But simulation, definitely, I didn't play it enough to really know too much of the differences. But the one thing I definitely noticed, a lot more penalties. I didn't see any injuries personally. They might have just been turned off for the EA play. You know, maybe, I don't know 100%. But there were a lot more penalties. And I think some of the penalties were glitches because they told me there were a lot more illegal blocks in the backs than there should have been. It was a bug in the game, but definitely a difference between simulation and competitive. I don't have it 100% down pat on those things, but that is a thing. And also back to the ID to mic feature. The first thing I talked about, just to get in general, I believe offensive lineman blocking is an issue that they have addressed, and offensive linemen play smarter this year. Don't take my word in it. I could be wrong. From what I noticed, I'm pretty sure they've worked on it. We'll see how the final product looks, but they're working on it, thankfully, because offensive line, you guys know how dumb offensive linemen play in Madden 17. I'm not going to go into it, but they tried to fix it in Madden 18, which is good, which is very good. Now, what I want to talk about for the rest of the video is the new modes in Madden 18. That's really the hype about this game. The gameplay is cool and all. Like I said, I have little experience, but I'm really excited about what they are adding into the game. We'll start off with team play, because you guys know, if you guys were subbed to me years ago, you know how excited I am about team play. You guys know about the MUT Squad. You know how excited I am about this. My thing is, I'm really surprised about how much everyone else is excited about this. I didn't see the people who were this excited about MUT Squads, which is team play, playing Madden 25 team play. You know what I mean? I didn't see all these people on there. And now suddenly everyone's excited about team play all of a sudden. And that was the reason why they took team play out, mainly because people wouldn't play and there was a lot of bugs in the game. But now they brought it back and everyone's excited. All these YouTubers are like, yo, we're going to collab and all this. We're going to collab all year. I really hope they live up to their word, man. But if they don't, I'm definitely playing team play all year. I know I'll be on MUT Squads all year. I'll be on there with my boys. And if the YouTubers are actually playing, we'll do collaborations on that as well. So team play, I only got to play one game down there, EA Play, because there was such a long line for to play team play down there, and I didn't want to cut the line or anything like that. I could have, but I really didn't want to take away opportunities from people who are waiting hours in line to play the game. That would just be selfish of myself. 'Cause I'll get opportunities eventually. You know, that would just be really selfish. But I did get to play one game. But one thing I noticed is that just watching from the sidelines is one thing I did a little bit. I watched other people play it, just to get a vibe of how people are reacting to team play, and everyone just seems to be into it. So I really hope it works this year. There's a lot of hype around it, and it would break my heart if MUT Squad doesn't turn out to be what it should be, which is just, you know, almost like Park in 2K in that kind of sense. You don't get the creative players, but you know, that 3v3 aspect, playing with your friends aspect. I really hope it's what it's building up to be this year. But if not, it's back in the game, and that's all I really care about, to be quite honest, that it's back in the game, and I get to play with my boys. I get to play with the MUT Squad. I get to play with Michael. I get to play with DC, Walsh, and Brian, and all of them, you know? So that's in there. There's weekend leagues. That's a big addition to MUT. If you guys do not know what weekend leagues is, I don't want to explain it. It's going to take a while, so I'll put the explanation of it on the video so you guys can read it. And if you guys need to, you can pause, but it's an idea originally from FIFA, like a lot of ideas from Madden. They originally come from FIFA. MUT champions from FUT champions, weekend leagues. And if you guys want to know more about weekend leagues, actually, I was joking about that Scomo thing. You guys check out Scomo's video. He actually interviewed one of the guys that works at EA, and they broke down weekend leagues, a little bit. He broke down how it's gonna work exactly to the core, so you guys can actually watch that video. I'll link you guys to the exact point to where they talk about it, all right? Seriously. So check out my dude Scomo if you guys want to know more about weekend leagues. But big addition to the game, I know Savage. If you guys know Savage on YouTube, your boy Savage, he's been begging for Weekend League. So I'm glad he got his news that the Weekend League is in there. And it's a really exciting thing, mainly because of the rewards. That's what Savage was telling me. I didn't know too much about FUT Champions and Weekend League and all that, but he was telling me the rewards are out of this world. So to have that in this game, to reward players for playing well, it's good. It's good. It gives people incentive to play Madden all year long, which is something that Madden lacked. And that's what Weekend League and team play should hopefully bring. Because right now, Madden is so dead. And honestly, it's been dead since the Super Bowl. And even before the Super Bowl, for me personally, it's been dead for so long. So hopefully, Weekend League and team play keep Madden relevant throughout the calendar year. Now, the last thing I want to talk to you guys about is Longshot. I've saved this one last. Not really on purpose, but kind of on purpose. Because there's a lot of knowns, but also at the same time a lot of unknowns about Longshot. And what I mean by that is, you guys know a few of the main focus points of Longshot. One, it's a story mode, you know, with the Devin Wade guy, I think his name is. Everyone plays with the same person. It's not a creative player thing. It's not superstar mode from past Maddens. So everyone knows that. Everyone knows that's a story mode. And there's, you know, the cutscenes and all of that. The other thing a lot of people know about, if you don't know, you will know. You will know now, is that you do not play in the NFL in this mode. You get drafted at the end. You could get drafted, I should say. There's a chance you don't get drafted, which is part of the cool thing about Longshot, is that the story mode is flexible based on how you play and how you pick on cutscenes and stuff like that in that mode. But you know, you don't play in the NFL basically, and that could kill the interest of the mode to some people. But I've also seen people say that it intrigues them more, and I really think it should, because, I mean, here's the thing you know about Longshot. It's a little bit more of a casual player mode than a hardcore Madden player mode, but that's not bad. It's still a mode that us Madden players can play. Us, you know, guys who have been in the Madden community for years, play it. Just play through it. It's not too long of a mode. I've heard them say it takes, you know, you could basically, if you all-night it or something like that, you can play it in a day. Easily. It's just like a campaign mode or something like that. And like a COD or something like that. But the mode, you should give it a chance, all right? Because what I've seen from it, you know, the cutscenes look really, really clean. There's a lot of really cool features in there that if you don't play the mode, you're going to miss out on. Just, you know, you guys saw the some of the stuff in there. And there's a lot more that, you know, you guys will see eventually in Longshot. I can't speak too much on it, to be honest. There's some stuff that I just really cannot say. I'll get in trouble if I do say it. But I really want you guys to know, from what I've seen, the Longshot mode, I want you guys to try it, all right? At least try it. If not, try it. You know, you watch someone's videos on YouTube of them playing it, and you figure out for yourself whether you want to try it or not. But I'm not telling you guys this because I saw the mode and I talked to some of the guys down there, and they kind of swayed me to talk good about Longshot, all right? I honestly wasn't really too big on Longshot when I first heard about it, but, you know, you guys will like what they have in store, right? I saw a bunch of people's first reactions to Longshot, a bunch of big YouTubers' first reactions to Longshot. I thought they weren't going to like it, but they actually were, you know, they were laughing at the cutscenes, they were getting really into the gameplay and all that, and I was surprised, and I was genuinely surprised and, you know, happy that they were into it, and I saw they got into it. If guys, I don't want to name drop, but if guys like QJB or iMaverick or people like that are, you know, genuinely interested in the mode, I think you guys could be as well. And there was like about like 20 people in there. Rex actually tweeted a picture of the people in that room at the time, but you know, give it a shot. So that's what I gotta say about Madden 18. Not too long a video, all right? If you guys watched the whole thing, you're a trooper. So leave a like on the video if you got through this far. You might as well leave a like, man. You've made this far. That means you actually liked what the hell I was rambling on about. Subscribe for more Madden 17, Madden 18 gameplay. Last thing I will tell you guys, there is no Madden 18 gameplay out right now, but from what I've heard, it should be out in like 3 to 4 weeks or something like that. You know, they're still trying to get, you know, I don't know. The game's not final. That's what I heard. So hopefully it's final sometime in the next upcoming weeks, and we will get gameplay soon. Hopefully I'll be able to bring some to you guys. So yeah, subscribe for more of that. Hopefully we get some of that gameplay sometime, and I will catch you guys next time.